The subway doors slid open with a sharp hiss. The stale air of the underground station mixed with the fresh scent of rain from the streets above. But for Maya Johnson, none of it mattered. Her heart pounded so hard she could hear it over the distant screech of the train wheels and the murmuring crowd. She clutched the scarf wrapped around her wrist, a faded blue fabric with embroidered lilies. It had belonged to her mother, a final gift before cancer stole her away. Maya had spent the entire ride thinking about her, remembering the nights they spent curled up on the couch watching old movies, the way her mother's laughter could brighten even the darkest days. Now she was gone, and this scarf was all Maya had left. Lost in her memories, she barely noticed the 3 police officers stepping onto the train, scanning the faces inside. But she felt it the moment their eyes locked onto her. One officer, Sergeant Daniels, tilted his head slightly as if making a silent decision. Another, Officer Brooks, shifted his weight, his hand resting near his holster. The third, Carter, folded his arms, his expression unreadable but charged with something ominous. Maya had seen that look before. It was the look of a world that had already decided who she was before she could prove herself otherwise. "Miss, we need you to step off the train," Daniels said, his voice firm but rehearsed. Maya's throat went dry. "Why?" she asked, forcing herself to sound steady. Brooks scoffed. "We got a report of a stolen wallet. You match the description." Her stomach tightened. A stolen wallet. She knew what this was. There was always a description. A young black woman. Maybe dark-skinned. Maybe wearing black. Maybe just black. She glanced around. There were at least 4 other women on the train who fit that description. But they weren't being asked to step off. Just her. The other passengers began shifting uncomfortably. Some avoided eye contact. Others watched with wide eyes, eager to see what would happen next. Few had their phones out recording. Maya wanted to run, but she knew better. "I didn't steal anything," she said, her voice controlled but laced with fear. Daniels sighed like he had heard it all before. "Step off the train, ma'am." Maya took a step back instead. "Am I being arrested?" Daniels, Brooks, and Carter exchanged glances. That was a question they didn't want to answer. "No, ma'am," Daniels said. "We just need to ask you a few questions." Maya's hands clenched. She knew what that meant. Her father, General James Johnson, had always told her to be cautious. He had spent his life serving this country, believing in justice, in order. But even he had admitted, in the quiet of their home, that justice wasn't always blind. "I have the right to stay here," she said, her voice rising just a little. Officer Brooks took a step forward, and that's when everything changed. The train doors began to close. Maya turned her head for just a second, just enough time to see the sliver of safety slipping away. That's when Brooks grabbed her wrist. The moment his fingers wrapped around her, the fear inside her exploded. "Let me go," she screamed, yanking herself free. Chaos erupted. Passengers gasped. Someone shouted, "Hey, she didn't do anything." Another voice screamed, "Let her go." A man in a hoodie tried to step forward, but Carter shoved him back. Maya's instincts screamed at her to run, but she couldn't. The moment she moved, they would say she was resisting. They would say she was a threat. Her hands were up now, trembling. "I didn't do anything," she said again, her voice breaking. Brooks' face was hard. Daniels looked tired. Carter's grip tightened on her shoulder. The crowd was growing louder. The weight of the moment was pressing down on all of them. And then a voice cut through the noise. "That's her. That's the girl who stole my wallet." Maya's breath caught in her throat. She turned and saw a woman standing near the back of the train. She was middle-aged, white, and furious. Maya had never seen her before in her life. "Liar!" Someone from the crowd shouted. "She's been on this train the whole time." But it didn't matter, 'cause now Maya was guilty. Officer Brooks didn't hesitate this time. He grabbed her arm hard and spun her around. In the struggle, his fingers caught on her scarf, her mother's scarf. It ripped, the fabric tearing as it fell to the grimy floor. Something inside Maya broke. "No, wait, please." Her face was pressed against the cold metal of the subway doors as her arms were yanked behind her back. The cuffs clicked into place. She struggled not to fight but to breathe. Tears blurred her vision. Not again. The train was still full of people. Some yelled, some pleaded, some just stared, and others just turned away. At the police station, Maya sat in a cold interrogation room. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. She had been here for hours. Then something changed. Footsteps echoed down the hall. Urgent whispers. The sound of a door bursting open. And then silence. The door creaked open and Sergeant Daniels walked in. His face drained of color. Behind him stood a man in uniform. Tall, broad-shouldered, radiating authority. General James Johnson, Maya's father. His face was thunderous. His jaw was clenched tight. His fists trembling at his sides. "What the hell is this?" he demanded. "My daughter, manhandled and humiliated based on nothing but the color of her skin. This is what justice looks like in this city." The officers shrank under his glare. "This is why communities don't trust you. You don't protect and serve. You judge, you profile, you brutalize. My daughter is a student, a human being, a citizen of this country that I have bled for. And this is how she's treated." The room was dead silent. The weight of his words pressed into their chests like a stone. "Apologize. Right now." Through gritted teeth, Daniels muttered, "We're sorry, Miss Johnson." "Not enough," General Johnson snapped. "This isn't over. You think you can keep doing this? That people won't notice? That no one will fight back?" Maya, exhausted and shaken, met her father's eyes. For the first time that night she felt safe. And the officers knew, this time they had messed with the wrong family. Please remember, never judge or mistreat people based on their appearance, background or social status. Everyone deserves respect and fairness, regardless of their color, race, clothing or family name. Have you ever experienced this, or have you ever judged a stranger based on assumption? Share your thought and always remember to be the change you wish to see.